Hello, friends. This is Eddie, or this is Options with Eddie, I should say. Okay. So welcome to this tutorial on Think or Swim. This is geared towards first-time users, or even if you've been using Think or Swim for a while, you might just want to maybe pay attention to these. Feel free to skip forward to any parts that that might interest you. It's just a refresher for maybe some of those resetting their Think or Swim. Maybe you've just been fighting with it. We know that if you're fighting with the platform that you're trading on, then that makes for a very unpleasant experience. And so we want to kind of help on these just to make that experience a little bit better, and so that you're concentrating on your strategy rather than on the platform. We know it's a big issue because some people are coming in from other platforms like thinkorswim or Robinhood or Webull or interactive brokers, whatever platform that you're using. We want to just make sure that you have a comfortable experience if you're switching to thinkorswim. Hopefully this will not be too long and that you will find some good tips on it. If you do like this video, by all means, please subscribe, please like using the buttons below. You all know how to do that. So let's get started. I'm going to show you some of the things that we hope to accomplish in this tutorial here. So I'm going to share my desktop, and I've got this document here that I authored a while back, but I haven't actually shared it with anyone. So let's go about let's review what I think that everybody should know. I think if you're going to be trading, if this is more than just a hobby for you, if this is something big for you, then I think that you should know all these things about thinkorswim. This list looks like it's a little bit long, but I think it covers the basics and some advanced things. So let's go over them. Just real quick here for getting started. We know that you need a MacBook, or you need a PC, a laptop, anything. You need a computer of sorts, not just your phone or your tablet, but you need a laptop or a MacBook. That's a basic requirement to use thinkorswim. You can use thinkorswim on your tablet. I've used one successfully on my what is it called, the iPad, and I've used it on my iPhone, and I'm sure the experience is somewhat similar. But if you want to get the full value, you want to be very, very efficient, you don't want to fight with the system, then go ahead and set these up on your laptop or your MacBook. So let's agree that that's a good starting point. You can go any other route, but this is a good starting point. To use thinkorswim, you do need an account with TD Ameritrade. By the way, TD Ameritrade just recently merged with Schwab. So if you have a TD Ameritrade account now, very soon it's going to be a Schwab account. Are you going to lose thinkorswim? Probably not. I think thinkorswim is one of the main reasons, according to the representative that I spoke with, it is one of the main reasons that Schwab bought TD Ameritrade. So it is a flagship product for both of them, both companies. So feel secure that it is going to hang around for a little bit of time. I've been using thinkorswim for a long time. So that's something that I like. I'm very, very well versed in thinkorswim. Once you get your TD Ameritrade account, you can obviously start with $0.00 when you open the account. But for full value, you need to put some money in there. Right now, they say the minimum is $500, I think, to get started. But if you're going to use it for a little bit more than just trading, options or anything like that, just go ahead and fund it. The recommended amount I usually ask people to start with is about $3,000, anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. Let me give that give a bit more perspective in that. Even if you have 100,000, 250,000, whatever amount of money that you have in your savings or other investments, you don't want to bring all that money in to begin with, because you don't know how to trade yet, or maybe you're learning how to trade, or you've been trading for a little while, but you haven't honed it yet. I would suggest you start off with a small amount, 3 to 5K. That's a small account, and work your way, grow that. That is the objective. At least that's what I teach in Options with Eddie. In options with 30, we start off with about 3 to 5K, and our goal is to bring it all the way up to PDT territory, 25K, and start doubling it from that point forward. Has it happened yet? Many times over. So stick with me. We'll figure out how to do that. So once you've funded your account, by the way, funding your account is real simple with TD Ameritrade. You don't have to call a rep. You don't have to mail a check, do something funny, dance around. No. Just go to tdameritrade.com. Go to your account and click on the one account that you have, whether it's a margin account, cash account, whatever kind of account that you want to work with, and add money to it. It's as simple as that. And then connect your bank. Most people know how to do that. Usually it's going to be an ACH or automated clearinghouse. That's the best way. It's the fastest way. Within 30 minutes during the business day, your money should be inside your brokerage account. Is all of it available? Not all of it is available to begin with, obviously for fiscal reasons and to make sure that money transfers okay. Only a bit of it may be available, maybe $1,000. It just depends on your relationship with TD Ameritrade or with your bank. But rest assured that the money moves very, very fast. So usually within about 2 business days, you should have that money in play. Okay, so and available in your account. It's actually going to show up in your TD Ameritrade account immediately. But will you be able to use all of it? Not all of it, at least for 1 business day. That much we know. But you're not going to want to use it anyway immediately because you're still in learning mode. And the good thing about TD Ameritrade account is that immediately it comes with a paper trading account. We'll take a look at that. In fact, today we're going to be seeing how to configure thinkorswim using our paper trade, and the steps are almost exactly the same. They're actually exactly the same as when you switch over to your live account. Okay. Let's see. You're going to while you're setting up your account at TD Ameritrade, be sure that you ask for the right options approval levels. This is important because getting them after the fact, after your account has been opened and you're rolling, may be a little intimidating. They may ask to see more things, more documentation. So right out the back, you want to make sure that you select your correct experience level, your correct, what would you call it? I would say net worth, your income sources and all that kind of good stuff. Be very, very careful and make sure you answer those questions exactly the way they want them answered so that you can get the right approval level. At the very minimum, we're looking to get approval level with spreads, right? So that you're able to do all sorts of spreads, whether they're credit spreads, debit spreads, condos, flies, all that kind of stuff. And that is in addition to just the regular calls and puts. Those by default, you're going to get those. You don't have to ask separately for those. But the spreads level is one that is necessary for a lot of the strategies that we discuss. You're going to want to agree to all the disclosures for real-time data. You need real-time data. It is not optional. You need real-time data. You cannot work on 20-minute delayed data. By the way, if you don't have any money in your account, they may not give you real-time data. So as long as you have at least $500 in your account, then you are eligible for real-time data. It's as simple as that. You don't have to pay for the real-time data. You just have to have some money inside your account, about 500 at least. So that's very easy. Go ahead and do that. And that's what I mean by say fixed delayed data on both live and paper trading. By the way, live trading and paper trading are 2 separate environments. Think of it as installing thinkorswim twice, but you're installing it just once. It's only when you log in, you get to switch or you get to choose which environment that you log into, either the live environment or the paper trading environment. And it's very, very clear when you log in, just right below your username and your password, you get to choose. It's a switch that you toggle back and forth. And then once we get in there, we're going to figure out how to update or reset the paper money or the SIM. SIM stands for simulated balance to 30,000. By default, the simulated balance is 100,000, which makes some people feel as though that's a lot of money. They can do a whole lot, but we want to reset it to 30,000. And you may be wondering, if my live account only has 3,000, why would I set my paper trading to $30,000? Well, the reason is we're going to be learning a lot of strategies, and you don't want to restrict yourself or you're in the learning mode. Okay, that's the reason why. That's the reason why. So let's get started here. I've already installed thinkorswim. Over here, you can see, let me reduce some of this stuff here in the background. I hope you can read this. And you know what? I'm going to maximize these. How about that? Let's do that. So by default, when you install thinkorswim, this is the page that you're looking at. You're looking at something that looks very, very complicated. It's got a lot of stuff, right? It's got plenty of stuff in here, and you know, things all over the place. Things might even be flashing. You're seeing PL open, working orders, field orders, all that stuff. You got events coming through, got updates. Where do we even start? I mean, this is confusing. Where do you even start? So to make it easy for you, I have I've provided some links here for you that you can use to get started. You can do this manually, by the way. You can do this manually. At least that's what I had to do. But you know, why live through all of that? Let's go ahead and do this manually. I'm going to show you how to do this. So I have provided this first link here that says tos.mx and then / M8RVL. I guess that's an I and L, something like that, maybe. Well, just copy and paste, right? I'm going to copy these. Maybe I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to add a link in here, customize, you know, just so that you can see it. That's the link. That's the example workspace. How about that? So if you can type it, that would be awesome. And I'm going to change the font over here to, I'm going to change these to, let's see, a courier font. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do a courier font so that you can see exactly what it is. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger even, right? So that's Mike, number 8, Romeo, Victor, Lima, India, Lima. Okay. That's the if you want to type it out, but I will paste that. I will paste that link in the description below when I edit this video, so that you don't have to worry about all of that. So what I'm going to do is I clicked on it, and guess what? I did not really need to click on it. Instead, all I needed to do was copy that link. So when I copy that link, I'm going to use this link to make my workspace just like mine. All right, my works just like Eddie's, right? My default or example workspace, it's a studying workspace. So let's do it. What you want to do is you want to hop on over to where it says setup. It's at the top right, and I hope you can see it. I hope my picture is not covering this this app, but it's at the top right, and I'm going to push that one time and open shared item. So from setup at the top right, you want to click on open shared item. That shared item is the link that you just copied, which is https://tosmx, and then that this group of letters over here that I'm having trouble reading. Okay. Then the next thing you want to do is push preview. Okay. So notice that when I push preview, it loads up that workspace, and it asks you to import the item as, and it's got a long name over here by default, obviously, because this is mine. It's called Eddie. So call it whatever you want. I tell you what, I'm going to call these, I'm just going to call these Sally. How about that? I'm going to call this default workspace as Sally. I'm going to call my workspace Sally. So I'm going to type in Sally, and that's it. And I'm going to push import, right? Notice that I just called it a name, call it your name. I'm choosing name Sally here, and I'm just called it import. I just pushed import. You get a confirmation dialog over here that says that Eddie 001 was successfully imported. Now, what next? What do we do with that? Now that it's imported and we don't see any changes, what's happening, right? And this is what's happening. What's happening is that you need to use that workspace that you just imported. How do we do that? I'm going to go over to the top right again. By the way, we're going to spend a lot of time in this menu here that says setup. So get familiar with it. It's at the top right of your platform, whether you're on Mac or whether you're on Windows. If you're using thinkorswim, at the top right, it's going to say setup, right? Setup. So I'm going to push on the workspace that I just imported, and I renamed it to Sally. Okay, Sally, S-A-L-L-Y. So notice that now it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Is it? All right. So notice that it changes a lot of things. And now it has this layout over here that I haven't done anything yet. All I did was just import that workspace that is called Eddie001. I renamed it to Sally. I activated by going to setup and clicking on the word Sally. Okay. Let's do some more customization now. Now, notice that I already have some watch lists here. I've got a watch list here. They look to be about the same, but you might not have this watch list. So how do we fix that? How do we fix that? That's the first thing that I want to fix, right? I'm going to make this into a full screen just to give you guys a little bit more real estate here, and you can see much better what I'm talking about. And also, I'm going to add another tip. Every time you make a change to your workspace, go ahead and save that. It's like you working on that Microsoft Word document, that term paper in college. And every so often you clicked on Control S or Command S to save it. It's the same thing here. We need to save the workspace so that we don't have to repeat these exercises all over again every single time. You with me on that? Cool. So we haven't made any changes yet, so we're not going to save anything. But we do need to import a watch list. So I have a watch list that I have, again, shared. That watch list is over here, and I'm going to just copy. I'm just going to copy this link, right? I'm just going to copy that link, and I'm going to also share it in the description down below. So let me go ahead and add this here. I'm going to paste that, and I'm just going to say my first watch list. How about that? Right? My font was, let's just go with watch list. Again, I'm going to make this font into Courier font so that it is sans serif. Sans serif means that it doesn't have the serifs. Nothing. You can see it much better, right? Okay, so that's the watch list that we are going to import into our workspace. So how do we do that? We're going to go to the setup screen. We're going to open a shared item. I told you guys we're going to be here for quite a bit, right? So shared item, and we're going to paste that URL. This is a new URL. This is a second URL. There's only 2 URLs that I'm sharing today, and this is the second one. Okay, so I'm going to preview these. Notice that it says watch list shared on June 15. I shared this quite a while, and it's shared by Swimmer. That's my TD Ameritrade username in the chat boards and all that. Not my login name, but my chat name. So if you ever want to contact me on, in the support area, you're going to be looking for Swimmer. And I'm going to give it a name. How about that? We'll go with the same name here, Sally, but I'm going to add a 01 just so that I know or differentiate it from the workspace, right? You can call it anything that you want. You can call it anything that you want. I'm going to call mine Sally01 for this example. Don't call it Eddie001. Just Sally1 is fine. And I'm going to push import. So when I did that, look at that. I got my watch list. It looks a little crazy at this time. Can I use it just yet? I can use it, but it's not in the right place that I want it to be. So I'm going to close that. And now I'm going to modify my top left watch list. So I'm going to push on watch list here. Yours may say something like default, right? It may say something like default, or it may have some other name, whatever name it is. Just go ahead and click on whatever name is up here under your first watch list, which is at the top left, and then click on personal, and then choose the watch list that you just imported, Sally1. Look at that. So now we have Sally1 here as your default watch list. Did we change something? Yes. Do we need to save this? The answer is yes again. So I'm going to go to setup and I'm going to save the workspace as Sally. Right, I'm going to save the workspace as Sally. No, don't we already have a workspace called Sally? Yes, we do. So we're going to override it, right? We're going to keep overriding these. We're going to save that. And I've already said yes to the dialog that asks me whether I want to override. You also want to do the same. The reason for that is because we are updating this workspace and we want to save it as many times or as we go along. And by the way, if there's a checkbox there that says, don't remind me, go ahead and check that, so that that saves you an extra click. Okay. So that's watch list number one. We need 2 watch lists. So I already had some watch lists down here. So let me show you how to create a second watch list. You're going to need at least 2 watch lists. One is static. The one that we just imported is static. The one we call Sally1 is a static watch list, right? We're not going to change it, but we need 2 of them. So how do we do another one? We simply click on the second area here of the watch list, and we're going to create watch list. So look at that. I just clicked on create watch list. I'm going to give it another name here. Look at that, Sally, Sally2. You're beginning to see the method to the madness, right? Right? You see why we call it Sally1? Because now we're going to have a Sally2. Pretty intuitive, isn't it? I'm thinking so. Yeah. Okay. So now that we have it called Sally2, we don't have anything inside of that watch list. We need to add something. It's as simple as clicking under the symbol, right? Under the symbol and adding the symbols, right? Here's a tip. You do not want to add any of the symbols that are already in Sally1. There's really no need to have them twice. Maybe you have a good reason to have them there twice. I don't know a good reason. So they need to be different. So if you're thinking of Apple, well, Apple is already in the first watch list. So let's go with some fancy names here. I'm going to go with Netflix. How about that? NFLX, right? NFLX. Okay, so I've got Netflix there, and then I will add just a couple more. Just for example, I'm going to add Home Depot or HD. Okay, I am going to add maybe something like ENPH. It's an energy stock or something like that. Or is it a health stock? Yeah, it's an energy stock, ENPH. And you get my drift. You can add as many as you want. My recommendation is that you add about 10 to 15. 10 to 15 stocks or symbols. They need to be in different sectors so that you're not heavily weighted on, say, technology or energy or health or something like that. You need a broad spectrum of stock, just so that you can have something to trade with every day or every other day. If you choose stocks all in the same sector, then sectors move. They tend to move together, right? So you're going to be stacked with stocks that are moving one direction, all of them. You're not going to have variety. You need variety. Once you have added a few symbols here, you can reorder them if you like. You can add a symbol, remove, import. You can move up or down. Go ahead and click on save. Notice that we have now our watch list, our second watch list. So I have 2 of them. One is called Sally1. The other one is called Sally2. Have we made a change to the workspace? Yes, we have. Guess what? I'm going to save. So top right, setup, save workspace. We're not going to change the name. Just going to call it Sally. Keep calling it Sally because we're overriding. We're saving that watch list that we created. Okay. All right. So now that we've excuse me. So now that we've set up some default things on our watch list, and we've saved our workspace, every time that it starts up, it needs to be the same every single time. So let's go over to that setup again. Let me show you something here. I'm going to click on setup at the top right. I am going to push application settings, right? Application settings. It's a fast link. And I want some things to be by default. So every time that my thinkorswim starts, I want it to show all accounts. I want my default account to be my margin account. I've got two of them. By the way, these numbers, I don't care whether you see them or not. This is my paper trading account. You can only do so much, not a big deal. And you can't decipher a lot of stuff using that number. So, but your real account number, you want to hide that. You want to hide that information. You don't want to share it with the world. So this is my paper trading, not a big deal. I'm going to start with the orders screen, or the order defaults. I like to start with the order defaults. I have modified my order defaults to make sure that this says default quantity of orders for stock is 1 and the quantity increment is 1. What that simply means is that when I go place an order for stock, I don't want to place 100 at a time. No. I want a conservative number. So 1 is as low as I can go, and I want to be proactive when I choose how many I want to buy. So 1 is a good starting number. Because we're doing options, you want to do the same thing for options, and you want to make sure that this default quantity of orders is 1 and the default increment is also 1. So you don't want to have that default, I believe it's 10, right? Buying 10 means that you're going to be spending quite a bit of money. We're not doing futures and futures options just yet, or Forex, so we're going to leave it at that. Before I push apply settings, I'm going to change a few more things. I'm going to go over to the notifications settings, and notice that here it sends an email to me. So you go ahead and add your email, enable notifications, and you can change quite a few things on that. One key thing that I want you to make sure is set is that the startup, notice the startup, I want you to make sure that this is set to whatever name that you chose or you call your workspace. In this case, in my case, we called it Sally. And so the workspace used on startup is going to always be Sally. So notice that I just changed from whatever it was. By default, it should say last application state. We want to change that to the workspace that you just imported and are now configured. That's the one that you want to modify. The next thing that you want to do is modify your look and feel, right? Not you personally, but the thinkorswim's look and feel. Some people would like a bigger font size, so you can choose your comfort level here. It goes all the way from small, I call this tiny, right? Small, medium, large, larger, very large, or extra large. I like mine medium. Medium is great. It's comfortable on my eyes. And also I have a big screen, so medium works very, very well. So you want to adjust this based on what screen size that you have, and also based on your comfort level reading your screen. You can change these from using the system font to make it using the default. I like the system font. I think it's beautifully designed by Apple. So you can use whatever you like. And then the spacing, I like a little bit of spacing between the letters and the words so that it's comfortable on my eyes. I spend enough time here. I don't want it too tight. Notice when it's tight, the words are too close. I have to squint. I have to look a little longer. So I like a little bit of room around the words, the letters, and the columns and all that. And then menus for navigation tabs, I want them to be delayed, meaning that I want to hover over something here, and then it shows me a hint. Okay, shows me a hint. So, all right. So once you have finished configuring that, you may click on Apply Settings, and remember to save your workspace again. We're going to do this a lot of times, and that will save you a few extra steps from when you open your system to, I guess, starting to work. Now, my chat settings, by the way, my chat settings have a default of a white background, right? White background. By default, most charts look like this. Let me show you how they look like. Right, this is how they look like. This is very, very busy. It's very, very, very busy. So For me, it is hard to read. For you, it may be not as hard. I don't know, but I don't really don't need the volume down here. I don't need these demarcation lines of the expiration dates. And I want to see something beautiful. So that is why my default workspace looks like the one on the left. So I just wanted to show you that example so that you can understand the difference. Now, if you want it to look like this or you want it to look different, there's the configuration icon here, which is the chart settings. It looks like a cogwheel. If you push one time on it, then you will notice several things. Let's go over these tabs one by one. Do I want to show orders on my screen? So the answer is yes. When I place an order on thinkorswim, I want it to show up, right? I want it to show up with the price where the price was. I want to show the studies if I have added any studies. I want the drawings to snap to the open, high, low, and close. Remember, there's four main pieces of the candle. There's the open, the high, the low, and the close. So when you place a line, when you draw a horizontal line, you want it to snap to one of those. Now, that's my preference, and I think it's the preference of a lot of people. And that's one way that you can do that. Okay. Time zone. We're all over the world, and if you want to set it to the market time zone, then that would be the New York Eastern Time, which is at the moment -5. At the moment, it is -5. Come in the fall, then this number will be different. We're going to go to -4, I believe. Yeah, we're going to go to -4 because we're going to fall back, right? Fall back. You can go through all of these settings one by one. It might take us a little bit of time, but I'm just going to highlight a few of the important ones that I like to set. One of them is my tools. One of my tools. So I want I want my tools on each chart. Where does this relate to? The tools that we're referring to are these ones right here. I've got to draw a red box around it. Those are the tools that we're referring to. And once you have those on each chart, it means that you have quick access to them. Make sure that you pin them, right? Pin them by clicking on that thumbtack right there, so that you can add your favorite actions. And that way they're quick, you have quick access to them. So that's a tool that I like to add to my workspace. Okay. See what else. On the price axis, there's not too much to change here, so we just leave it by default. On the time axis, I want my default time axis to be showing me 9 months and in the day time frame. How do I figure that out? Notice over here it says day. That is, each candle is representing one session. One session equals to 1 day in this particular example. It can be 1 minute, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 hour, 1 week. It can be anything that you want. But I like mine to represent 1 day because we always chart on the daily time frame. So when you hear us talking about charting on the daily, that is actually what we mean. It's actually what we mean, that the chart is on a daily time frame. Right. And where else can you confirm that you're on the 9 months daily time frame? On the chart itself, notice that I'm looking at the SPX, and it does confirm to me that I'm looking at the 9M 1D or 1 day time frame. Okay. Another thing that you might want to change or make sure is set correctly, and that is expansion area, 8 bars to the right. This is the space that we're talking about. So when you draw a horizontal line, we tend to have either a label there, or we have some data, some text. So we want to make sure that we give it some space so that it's not covering the current candle. Okay. All right, good deal. Let's go on to the next tab, which is favorite timeframes, and you can add these to your liking. Okay, for me, I've added 1 day, 1 minute, 1 day, 5 minutes. I rarely use 1 day, 15. I rarely use. My favorite timeframes that I use quite a bit are the 1 day, 1 minute early in the morning. I also like the 5 day, 5 minute, and I like the 9 a.m. 1 day. This is comfortable for me. Why do I have a 6 a.m. 1 day? It's because when I'm on a smaller screen, I might want less data, but it's still showing me daily time frame. So you might want to play with those, either go to the 6 a.m. 1 day or the 9 a.m. 1 day, just to make it more comfortable for you. Okay. Right, under the favorite timeframes, that's what we just did. Under the appearance, this is where we configure a little bit more of how we like our charts to display. Okay. I like mine filled in, and that's what that fill up means, or fill down means that it's going to have a solid rather than a hollow background. I do want to see the ticks, and I want the color of the ticks to be black. I believe there's a place where, that's the doji, yeah. Doji is black. The border down is black, border up is black. It just simply means that I want the borders to be darker than the color of the candle itself. Okay. I want my cursor to be black. I can make it anything I want. I can probably make it this color. Look at that. Yeah, but black is fine. So we change that to black. There we go. And I want my background to be white. Okay, you can change these to anything that you like. You can make it a lighter white, a cream, or something like that. Whatever is comfortable for you. Importantly, I want to make sure that my grid line is visible. So I have a grid line, and it has a subdued color here, which is gray. And I'm talking about these boxes, these lines up and down. I like to see those because they give me information. For instance, I can see quite clearly here that each box is, in this scenario, is represented by 50 points. As I move from security to security, that number is going to be different. Once I know what that increment is, I can simply see how many boxes, how long did it take to move from one to the other. Yeah. Under equities, this is where you take out the volume subgraph. Remember that volume subgraph that we saw in a few minutes ago? This is where you take it out. Let me actually go here to a security like, say, SPY, and show you the difference between what that looks like. So I'm going to push the settings again, go to equities, and if I show the subgraph and I push apply, this is the one that I'm talking about. Totally useless information. When you're learning, this is very, very useless information. Take it off, right? You need more real estate. So that's how you take it off. Okay. Do you need to see the extended timeframes? For instance, if you're looking at Globex, gaps in the morning, stuff like that, or how things traded overnight, this is where you do it. It's going to be under the equities. You show extended hours trading session, and you highlight the extended hours, and then you push apply, right? Once you push apply, they don't automatically show up because you're on the day time frame. You need to be on something less than the 15. So let's go to the 15 and look at that, right? In the shaded area, that is the extended hours information that you were looking for. To remove it, you simply click on the settings again, go to your equities, and highlight, and show. Push apply, you're back to your regular view. You only need that if you're trading the Globex gaps in the morning, or you have an interest in understanding what happened overnight for a particular symbol, right? That's when you need it. Otherwise, on regular trading, most people don't really need that extra information. Okay. Same thing with options, right? You can show extended hours trading session. Do we have any options that are trading extended hours now? We don't. Options only trade from 9:30 to 4 o'clock Eastern time. So you really don't need these show extended hours trading session, unless you're trading futures, which is a different story. then at that time you may actually need that. Are we talking about futures and Forex today? No, we're not. So we're going to skip right over that, push OK. So that's a quick tutorial on how to modify your chart, by the way. That's how to modify your chart. One of the main questions that I get a lot is when you click on the price level tool and your price line moves only from the point that you click all the way to the right. It does not extend to the left. What gives? What's the deal with that? Well, to fix that, all you have to do is just right click on that line that you just made, click on properties, and make sure that the left extension is on. Left extension, make sure that that left extension is on and the right extension is on. If you would like to show the price on the right, then make sure that show price on the right is also selected. If you want to show the name on the left, this is this name that I'm talking about, make sure that that's selected. Before you push OK, make sure that you click Save as Default. That's the secret right there. You want to make sure that you save that as the default so that the next time that you draw a horizontal line, I'm going to show you here. How about if I chose that the left extension was off? I'm going to make it off just so that we can see the difference here. I'm going to push that off. I'm going to save as the default and I'm push OK. Let me remove some of my paint. Notice that it is only drawing the line from where I click it. So I'm going to push, just an arbitrary line over here. I'm going to double click that. Do you see that? It only draws the line from where I clicked. To me, that's not, it might be useful for some people. To me, that's not very useful. I like to extend all the way because I'm always looking to the left to see some history. So I want to configure mine to always have a left extension on the left side. And I'm going to push Save as Default. Okay, so notice that from that point forward, it will always extend to the left and to the right. Make sure you go ahead and click on Save Setup, save your workspace, and those settings are going to be saved. Okay, so we always want to do that. All right, let's see what else. Some tips here. If you want to quickly clear your screen, you can always right-click anywhere on the screen and clear drawing set. That's the best way. That's the quickest way to actually remove all the lines and start afresh or something like that. Or let's say yes to the dialogue. I'm going to switch back over here to the 9 months, 1 day time frame. Okay, looking good so far. Good deal. Now that we have some basics out of the way, there's more questions we need to answer. More specifically, are where to find stuff like your charts. So we know that to find your charts, we just simply click on the label that says charts. Nothing more complicated than that. Charts, that's all it says, right? So, and more than likely, if you imported the default workspace that I provided, or the new customized, actually it's not default, the customized workspace, then you're going to be looking at the chart the very first time you open the program. So that's easy. Well, where do you find your options chain? Right? Where do you find your options chain? Where do you find your working, your field, your canceled orders, your transaction history, and all that kind of good stuff? Let's find out. So I'm going to be pointing to a few things. So trade, yeah. Trade is where you find your stuff. That's where your options chain is going to be. So I'm going to get my trusted tool here again. Going to annotate, get my pencil. This is what we're looking at here. So trade, right? Trade is what we're looking at. Is that intuitive enough today? Is that can you all see that? Hopefully you can see that. This is where I'm talking about trade, right? So that's what we click to get to the options chain. And I'm going to click on it now. So here we go. I clicked on trade and it's waiting for data. It's the weekend, so my data is probably not as quick. But during the week, this is blazing fast. This is blazing fast. So the first thing I'm looking at when I click on trade is a bunch of dates over here, and I see a bunch of weeklies and 100. What's all that stuff? Where does that come from? Well, this is the options chain, and it's telling me what contracts are available to trade. And I could choose anything from the 27th of February right now all the way. I could keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. There's a lot of them, right? And how do we choose which ones? We're going to cover that in class, which one is the best one to pick. For now, let's just pick any here so that we can go over what is on there. Notice that when I click on the date, it expands that section. Right? It expands that section. It's got a bunch of things. I'm not sure. I don't remember what the default here is, but and I think it's 4. When I look at strikes, the number of strikes, it might say 4. It might be even less, some ridiculously low number. Okay. And I want us to change that to show us 14. 14 is actually a number that you can select from the drop down, but 14 is a nice, comfortable level. I like 14 because it shows us several things. It's going to show us things that are in the money. Right? Remember, the in the money is everything that is shaded in the purple background color. And that is for calls. It is always going to be less than the current price. Right? That's in the money. And then for puts, what is in the money is everything that is greater. The strikes are greater than the current price. What's the current price? Current price is 30. For this particular symbol, it is 39.70. By the way, where do you find the current price? Where do you find it, right? And the current price is actually called several things. Sometimes it's called last. Sometimes it's called the mark. It's called the current price, right? All those things, but it's referring to the same thing. So the last is equals to the mark. I could look at it on the on the gray background here. I can see that the price here is 39.70.04. It's also represented there. I could also look in my watch list. Right? So there's many places that I could look. There's plenty of places that I could look. So you want to pay attention to that. Now, the reason that I brought this options chain up, you notice that mine's not as busy. It's not as busy as some that you might have seen previously. Usually, the layout is something very, very busy. I just changed the layout over here to show in a few more columns like delta, gamma, theta, vega, bid, X, ask X, all that kind of stuff. And it gets busier and busier. I could add a lot of things here. In fact, by default, there's a ton of stuff. I don't remember what all the custom things are, like intrinsic value, right? Intrinsic value, extrinsic value. Right. Some people even have volume in there. You wonder why, right? Probability in the money, probability out of the money, probability of touching. Let's see. That's a ton of information. Just makes your head hurt. How do you use all this information? You have to have exceptional capability to read these real quick, understand what you're looking at, and make use of it. It's a bunch of BS. You don't need that. You need to simplify it as much as possible. Just leave what you need. Just leave what you need. And as you need it, then you can add it. Otherwise, when you're starting to learn how to use this, then make it as simple as possible. So the things, and when we talk about this in class, watch my video about the basics that explains why we choose what we to see, why we choose to see what we select. So for that, make sure that your options chain only has just what you need. So I'm going to remove all of that and be left with just the delta, right? Be left with just the delta. So we're left with the delta, the bid, the ask. We cannot remove that because the bid is for when we're selling, the ask is when we're buying. And then, of course, we need the strike date and we need the actual strikes. And this information gets repeated on the right side of the screen. That's the options chain, simplified. So you want to make sure that that is done. And then guess what? Go to setup, go to save workspace, always save it. Anytime that you change the layout of your program, just go and save that workspace. Let's see what else. Where do we find our working field or cancelled order? Great question. So the monitor tab is where we find that kind of stuff. So when we place a trade, this is where we're going to find that stuff. So let's go ahead and place a trade. Yeah, I'm going to place a trade. Let's just going to do a dummy trade over here. I'm going to assume that Apple is I'm going to buy a call. I'm going to buy a call, and I'm going to push on the ask column, and I'm going to confirm and send. And because this is actually on the weekend, guess what? I'm going to make that GTC, right? And we cover a lot of these things in class, so don't worry about what all these things mean. We're going to go into excruciating detail. And this is my confirmation dialog, push and send. I just want to show you where you find your orders. So I made a dummy order. It has not happened. It is not going to take place over the weekend because this is an options trade. Options do not trade over the weekend. So when I push monitor now, I can see several things, right? I can see several expandable sections. I can see working orders, field orders, canceled orders, rolling strategies. So guess what any of these mean? What's a working order, right? You drive through Starbucks and you are at the window and you order your caramel macchiato. It is now a working order. By the time you get to the window, hopefully it has been filled. Yeah, that's a work. It's nothing more complicated than that, right? Doesn't mean anything less or anything more. It's just working. That's what it is. When it gets filled, guess where it goes? It goes over here. When it's working, it's over here. You can see it's working. What is the timing force? GTC, good till canceled. What's the current price? What is the price that I bid on, which was 24.5? The current price is 24.20. How come this is changing? It's because it's a weekend. Someone's trading around the world. That's what's going on. Okay. But it has not been filled. Once it gets filled, it comes into this section called field orders, right? And then if I happen to cancel it, if I happen to cancel that order, I don't want it to execute anymore, then it will go into the canceled order. So let's see how that works. How do I cancel an order? How do I replace an order? Well, it's as simple as right-clicking on that line. You can right-click anywhere on the green line, anywhere. Doesn't matter where you right-click. And I've got several things that I can do. I can cancel the order outright, means I don't want it, take it off the system, right? Got cold feet. My theory, my thesis, not good anymore. Don't want it. Okay, that's one thing that you can do. Or you can do a cancel replace. Means exactly what it says. I want to cancel and replace this order with something else. That's what that means. So when I hit a cancel replace, I'm faced with the order entry dialog again, make whatever changes that I want. And maybe I'm thinking $20 is too high. I'm going to confirm and send. There we go. So notice that my order was canceled. If I go back to the monitor tab, then I should see that my new price limit is set. It is still a working order. If I decide I don't want this order anymore, I'm going to right-click anywhere and just cancel the order. Now it is in canceled orders. Why do I have two orders? The very first one was the one that I made and replaced. Second one is the one I just canceled. Okay. Simple as that. Okay. Sometimes you've been making a lot of orders and they've been getting filled, you've been making profits or some losses or a combination of both. How do you get that transaction history, right? Where do you find what's been happening? The place to find that, again, is to go to the monitor tab and then go into your account statement. So account statement, normally by default, will say 7 days back, but you can choose to see the history of your transactions. So I'm going to push 7 days back, and I can either select some dates over here by choosing whatever time frame I want, or I can just type over. I can just type in maybe, I want to see 300 days. How about that? I want to see 300 days of transactions, or I want to see 30 days of transactions. You've got a menu there, or you can type over it. So I'm just going to choose 30 days from today. Okay. and it's going to show me what I have been working on. Okay. If I changed my balance, then it will also show up over here. You notice that I changed my balance here to a different amount. Okay. So the activity and positions will show what happened today. Tomorrow, when you open it and you don't have any activity, there will be nothing. It will be blank. It will only show you what is happening today. If you want to see what happened yesterday, you will need to go into the account statement. So don't be worried if you go into your activity and positions and you don't see anything. That's because you haven't done anything. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Okay, cool. So play around with the trade, play with the monitor screen. Those are two screens actually going to be working with the monitor, trade, and charts. Those are the three main tabs that you're going to spend a whole lot of time on. You might be interested in Market Watch and Visualize, Market Watch and Visualize, and this gives you a heat map of what's happening. And this only works well in real time when the market is open. So you may be able to take advantage of this. Again, we talk about this in class. How do you use this heat map to help you make some decisions? Very good. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. Let's see what are the things that we can cover. We now know how to look at our entire history. We know where to find studies and other scripts. Guess what? Studies. Notice over here it says studies. You can add study, and it's as simple as that. Where do you find earnings, dividends, and other symbol-related news and events? When you're looking at your watch list, you might see some symbols. For instance, here I'm looking at HD on my watch list, and there's a dollar sign that says that there's a dividend coming up, right? So the way to find out when is that date coming up, just hover it, or you can even click on it, and it will show you that we are expecting a dividend of $2.09 on March the 8th. Well, what if that doesn't happen? Well, the market is going to tell us how they feel about it, okay? So there's that. We covered the basics of how to add your first watch list and how to add even more watch list. If you copied my default or my customized workspace, then the ATR is already on your watch list. Make sure that that ATR is the simple watch list. There are many types of simple ATR. There's several types of ATRs. There's the wielders, there's the simple, there's, well, actually, let's find out. I'm going to click on the configuration icon over here. I'm going to push customize, and I'm going to push the D over here next to ATR, and let's see what we have. We've got the average type, which is simple. We have exponential, we have weighted, we have wielders, and we have the how. I don't know, something with an HULL, right? Do we care about any of these? Probably not. The one that you're most likely going to be interested in is the one that is called a simple. We like simplicity, don't we? And also you want to choose a length of 14. You could have several ATRs possible. You could have 9, you could have 14, 50, 200. There's a specific reason for having any of those ATRs. Okay. There's a very, very specific reason for if you want to go simple, then let's go with the length of 14. That means it's averaging the last 14 days, giving us the whole, the high, the low. It is also taking out the outliers. It's an important feature of ATR, okay? And leave it at that. Okay. Let's see what else. I want to clear this screen. Go look at my notes again. We're not going to cover shares because we're not doing shares. We're simply doing, we're actually just doing options. But there are instances when we want to buy shares, right? There are instances. And in a separate class, we're going to figure out how to do bracket orders on shares, bracket orders on options and calls, on options, calls and puts, bracket orders also on vertical spreads. How to close open orders and how to do trailing stops. All of those are going to come in at a later class. For now, we're just configuring. We're also going to talk later on about saving orders, right? Conditional orders. This is important. We do conditional orders a lot. How to calculate and set your profit levels on options contracts based on the price of the underlying. That's something that a lot of people find difficult with. We're going to figure out how to do that using thinkorswim. Using thinkorswim. And how do we use on demand to backtest a trade? That's something also that's a little bit advanced. And the way to do that, by the way, to get to your on demand, you have to be in your live thinkorswim. You cannot access on demand using the simulated trading. You have to first log into your live account and then use the on demand on the live account to go to on demand. Okay. On demand feature to go to the on demand. So very cool. If you have comments, questions, by all means, put them down there. You're going to find a few links that I'm going to place specifically for this example workspace and the fast watch list. They're going to be in the description. If I forget to put them, by all means, just comment and let me know. But I think I'll put them in fairly quickly. All right, friends. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in class. This is Eddie.